Right, I think we're recording. Mm. Hi, everybody. My name is Leanne McKeown. I'm the Director of Corporate Outreach and Career Development at Terry University's Graduate School of Technology. Today, I'll be giving you a brief workshop on career fair prep. So this session is specifically going to be including the dates for the upcoming spring career fairs at Turo. Our agenda today will be covering again the specific dates and how to register for the upcoming career fairs on campus at 3 Times Square. We'll also be going over what to do before the career fairs, the best ways to prepare, what you do during the actual fair itself when you're meeting employers and selling yourself to recruiters, and what to do after the career fair, what that follow-up looks like with the recruiters you met with. At the end, there's also going to be a little session where you can practice and craft your elevator pitch. So the upcoming career fairs taking place on campus this spring include the All Majors in-person career fair hosted by Turo Undergraduates Career Center. This is taking place on Thursday, February 26th from 12 to 4 p.m. on the fourth floor. And GST is hosting its 2026 AI Data and Tech Career Fair, which is more like a micro fair on Wednesday, March 25th from 2 to 4 p.m., also on the fourth floor of our Cross River campus. So the first one, again, is open to all Toro undergraduates and is also open to GST students. You'll find part-time, internship, and full-time opportunities presented by organizations across all industries and various sizes. And the AI Data and Tech Career Fair, again, is more focused on tech positions, tech internships, part-time roles, and full-time postgraduate opportunities. And the tech fairs specifically or exclusively open to technology undergraduates like cybersecurity majors, computer science majors, digital multimedia design majors, and all graduate school of technology students and alumni. So here you'll find some general tips and advice I'd like to give students before the career fairs. Definitely, highlight that you should take advantage of any of the resources you have available to you, and 2 departments or offices you have available to the students include the Writing Center and the Career Services Center. So if you haven't done so already, I think it's worth stopping by or making appointments with the Writing Center. There are 3 full-time staff members there ready to help you out with your resume, curriculum vitae, or cover letters if you have concerns about spelling or grammar or format. And then you can also bring that copy of your resume to me. We can tailor it more towards a recruiter's perspective or for specific technology related positions. So when it comes to, again, just regular spelling, grammar, structure, punctuation, definitely take advantage of the Writing Center. And after you do that, feel free to schedule an appointment with your career services director or counselor so they can help you tailor it to the types of jobs or internships that you are targeting. In addition to updating your resume, you're also going to want to make sure that your Handshake profile and LinkedIn profile, if you have one, are up to date. If you've never logged into Handshake before, now is a great time to activate it and make sure you can access their career fair registration pages. And if you don't already have a LinkedIn profile, now's a great time to start creating one and building it out so you can grow your network leading up to graduation. For the fair, you're also going to want to prepare or have a better idea of what types of business casual or professional attire you will wear during the actual event. Some other tips include researching the employers or organizations that are attending in advance. And reasons for that are to make sure that the jobs or internships that they're advertising kind of align with your major or your career goals. And that way, maybe you're going to meet with all the employers or all the recruiters, but that way you know who your target list is or your top 3 is, and you can kind of rank it for yourself personally. And again, last but not least, is to write and practice your elevator pitch. So here are the QR codes if you want to set up an appointment with the Writing Center on the 7th floor or with me for GST students and alumni. My office is located in room 411. So this is just again a breakdown of what do we mean when we say research employers in advance and how do we even do that. So first stop would be to take a look at the company's registration information on the Handshake Career Fair. So you'll see a tab where you can like learn more. Actually, let me pull it up so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. Bear with me. Okay. So here I'm looking at the student preview page for the upcoming AI Data and Tech Career Fair. It might look a little bit different because I am an administrator. That's why it's showing that I'm not qualified to join because I'm not like logged in on a student account. But you should be able to see two different tabs, which is the details for the employer. So definitely register. And this is again where you can start to do that research and get a better idea of like which companies are attending the career fairs. You'll be able to find their headquarter address or main address there, some information about their industry, their company website link, and a little description about like who they are, what they do. They actually also list the jobs that they are recruiting for at this particular fair that they signed up for, and you can see what school years or class years they're targeting. So if we look at B&H Photo, they're specifically recruiting for a web developer position and a business intelligence analyst role. So if we, click on it, we'll be able to see which one is the internship, which one's the job, and also identify which one's the part-time role and which one is the full-time role. So if I were in the business intelligence program or a data analytics major, this is definitely one I would put on my list as a company I want to make sure I introduce myself to. So I can sell myself regarding my background in data analytics and business intelligence and inquire more about the next steps of how to apply or be considered for their business intelligence analyst position. B&H Photo, in this example, would also be a good potential fit for any of our web and application development students. So that's just some practice there. And back to presentation. After taking a look at some of the information on the Turo Handshake page, you can also look up the company on LinkedIn and see if they have a LinkedIn company page. Sometimes you'll be able to see if you have mutual connections at that company, how many employees roughly they have employed there. Let's see what else. Just their most recent posts, maybe videos. And yeah, I recommend that you follow the company's page on LinkedIn. That way you're kind of like staying in touch and your algorithm's updated because you expressed interest in that company, that industry, their positions. Another area where you can find good information about an employer would be Glassdoor. So if you haven't visited Glassdoor's website before, definitely take a look. You can insert some information about an employer or a company that you are interested in, and you can see some current or past reviews from, I guess, both current or former employees of the company might give some ratings for like the CEO or their healthcare benefits package or salary and promotion or long-term career growth. So employees confidentially will give their ratings or reviews of what it was like to work at that company or in that specific role with the company. So again, as you're researching the employers, you might want to get a better idea of the company's mission, their history, when were they founded, who's part of the leadership team, how's their organization structured? Do they provide a product? Do they provide a service? What's the company culture like? Do you see pictures of employees wearing more casual attire? Are they wearing more business professional? And again, all that might depend on the industry. And you can also take a look at the company's careers page to see what jobs they have posted directly on their company website. And just keep in mind that some companies might have their internship or job opportunities posted on Handshake as well, or LinkedIn, or other job boards like ZipRecruiter and Indeed. And as you are researching and better understanding these companies and their job postings, you may also want to jot down or prepare some questions to ask recruiters or the company reps attending so you have some more clarity. You came up with questions while reviewing them and their roles. All right, so we briefly introduced the idea of wearing business, casual, and professional attire. Again, I just point out that, according to researchers at Princeton, it only takes 1/10 of a second to form a first impression. So first impressions are important, and just want to keep in mind that, everybody else who's attending the fair that day is also trying to put their best foot forward, dress for success, and they want to be remembered by recruiters, right? So I think it's worth putting in some extra time and effort just to be mindful of your attire that day. Some ways to kind of get ahead of that so you're not scrambling the morning of the career fairs to make sure you've done your laundry ahead of time. Maybe you prepared, ironed, or steamed your outfit the night before. In that way, you feel like confident the day of. So on this slide, you'll just see some screenshots of photos of some examples of what types of attire you could wear. Usually I'll see attendees wear or stick to more neutral colors. So, whether that be like gray, black, navy, cream, uh, if you're wearing like neon green, that might you might feel a little how do I say it? You might not feel as comfortable if everybody else is wearing more neutral. So again, do what you have to do to be you, but also just be mindful of, again, the first impressions and professionalism is kind of expected at a professional event like this. And I definitely recommend also wearing comfortable shoes just in case you're standing online or what the rest of your day looks like. So just be mindful of other things is to stay hydrated. So one question that students will often ask or alumni will often ask is if they should wear their coat or their backpack. At these events, there will be a coat rack and some hangers. So rest assured that there will be a space in the hallway outside of the career fair where you can hang up your coat or store your bag so that you are just wearing your attire and bringing, copies of your resume or folder with you. Okay, this is the slide where we talk about practicing your elevator pitch. So when you're giving an elevator pitch, or what is an elevator pitch? Usually you want to make sure that you're introducing yourself. You want to kind of be mindful of who your audience is. If you do know, you might not know until you actually give the elevator pitch who this person is that you're meeting or speaking to. And of course, you want to practice your pitch. So make sure, in this pitch that you're able to articulate what your major is, what you currently do, or current activities, if you hold any positions or are currently interning somewhere, and what your goals are, whether it is to secure another internship or to secure an internship in a specific industry or to land, a full-time job. And when I talk about knowing your audience, it's kind of being able to tailor it if you do know the job title or the reason somebody's at the career fair. Are they an alumni rep who wants to just share their story of what it's like to work at that company? Are they a recruiter or are they the hiring manager involved in that position who the role will be reporting to? So, how you sell yourself or what the details you choose to include when speaking to this person or this individual might sound a little bit different depending on who the person is, just because of that person's like interests or how they may be able to assist you further along the application, interview, and hiring process. So you want to aim for your pitch to be brief, persuasive, and you want it to sound confident. Here's an example, and again, a list of the components that make a nice solid elevator pitch. You want to make sure you're talking about your field of study, maybe some relevant skills or certifications, a non-relevant experience, and of course, your professional goals. So here I'm just going to read this, but this is tailored to a data analytics graduate student. So if they're kind of approaching somebody at the career fair table, or if they're actually on their way to the career fair and they find themselves in the elevator with a recruiter who is also attending the career fair, you might say, hi there. I'm a data analytics graduate student pursuing my master's at Truro University Graduate School of Technology, or you could just say here at Truro. I have a strong background in Tableau and Power BI, and I'm really eager to apply my skills to a hands-on internship in the transportation industry. I'm dedicated to contributing innovative solutions and learning from experienced professionals in the field. I'm confident that my technical knowledge and enthusiasm for the industry makes me a valuable addition to your team. So, again, that is kind of something I just read verbatim. You don't want it to sound that way in real life, but that's why the practice makes perfect. So, overall, if I was in the elevator, I want to make sure that somebody knows I'm studying data analytics. Maybe I'm about to graduate in June with my master's. I have experience with Tableau and Power BI. And if I saw that they were wearing a name tag, maybe it said that they worked at the MTA, I would want to mention or point out that I have an interest in the transportation industry, and that way you kind of get the conversation going. And maybe after you introduce yourself and express that enthusiasm for the industry that they seem to work in, they'll be able to respond and share more details about potential openings or any information they may know about internships at their company or in the industry. So yeah, just kind of like a volley. So you share some info, they share some info, and hopefully get all the info you need to move to again the next stage or phase in the interview and hiring process. So here are some questions that you can ask the recruiters. Let's see, there are about 6 here, just as an example. Um, I'll read a couple, and again, you can review and see if any of these are ones that you want to ask the recruiters or company reps at either career fair. So, one thing you can ask them is, can you tell me a little bit about the different stages in the hiring process for the data analytics internship role? So maybe they'll be able to give you some insight on like how many rounds typically it is, if it starts with the hiring manager or if the first round starts with the recruiter. Is it a one-on-one interview? Is it a panel interview? Is the interview via Zoom, like a virtual interview, or is it in person? And also, maybe they can give you a better idea of the timeline, right? Is it something that moves relatively quickly, like in 2 weeks, or could it take up to 45 to 60 days? That way, you have a better idea and can kind of temper your own expectations of what to expect for the specific role with the specific company, because even though there might be similarities in maybe recruiting and application timelines or hiring processes, every company is unique and different. Another question I like to ask people I'm meeting for the first time who work at a company is how long they've worked there, what drew them to that company, or what they really enjoy about their role in particular. And it's always nice to ask that, especially if they're currently working in a role that you're also interested in. That way you kind of know what the pros and cons are, and that might help you figure out if you could see yourself working that role or help you determine if this role is in your top three or top five or top 10. Couple other questions is, how does insert company name? So how does this company help its employees learn new skills and improve existing ones? Another question is, what's the best way to stay in touch with you? So these are good because even though you're meeting for the first time and it's an intro, the purpose is to try and stay in touch and make these connections. Because even though maybe you've expressed interest in internship this semester, maybe this is a connection you can touch base with again in the future for when you are ready to look for more of a full-time position. So here are some tips for during the career fair. What can you expect? Depending on the size of the event and how many, employers or tables there are, maybe the size of the room and how it's structured, it could be chaotic, noisy, and crowded. So it's just something you want to be thinking about going into it. You want to look out for some alumni. That's just a nice like icebreaker and a little bit of a lower stakes conversation than just speaking directly with a non-alum who maybe you don't have anything in common with yet. So that could be intimidating. When you're connecting with reps, you want to be prepared to talk about yourself, which is again why the elevator pitch is super important, and doing research on the companies is important. Know that if there are a lot of other candidates or students and alumni who are approaching the companies that you want to approach, you might have to wait online. And that definitely happens. Like you'll see some employers have a longer line than others for whatever reason. Um, and let's see. Oh yeah, these are tips too for like a virtual fair. So if you are in a virtual fair too, just be mindful. Maybe you have a specific time slot and the recruiter's running late. Just give it a couple of minutes because they might be wrapping up with the other person that they were scheduled to talk to prior to your time slot. Yeah. Yeah, overall, when it comes to talk to the reps, try your best to do your own personal career fair homework so that you maximize your time because you may have limited time with them if you finally get up to talk to the table and there are people behind you who are waiting too. So check out the site beforehand. One tip I like to give students is, let's say you did your research, maybe you have your top five out of however many companies are at the event, and you can rank it by the ones that you're interested in most, right? I would actually recommend starting off there by talking to an employer that maybe isn't at the top of your list, just to kind of warm up, break the ice, see what it's like to give that first elevator pitch. And so by the time you get to the employers you really like and want to leave a good impression with, again, you've had that practice and hopefully have like boosted your confidence a little bit. Some other tips would be to arrive early, be confident in yourself, act friendly, and just know that people are always observing and watching, right? So even the employer at the table, next to where you're standing in line might be paying attention to their like surroundings. So just be mindful of who's in the room and how you may come across. If you are joining a virtual fair, make sure that you're smiling and looking at the camera, because that's how you'll be able to make that connection virtually, right? So smile, look at the camera. That way, come across as like personable, which I'm sure you are anyway. And other tips include being patient. You want to pace yourself. If it's like a really long career fair for hours and hours with like, so many employers, stay hydrated. You don't have to like speak to all 10 or 20 employers in 20 minutes if you have the time and don't have classes during the event. It's okay to take your time. So yeah, make sure you ask some questions, convey interest. A lot of employers might bring some goodies like pens or I don't know, lip balm, snacks, trying to think what else, like notepads, these highlighters. This is one thing from a career fair that the New York City Department of Finance was handing out to students before. So feel free to, take those and collect business cards for sure. That way you have the email addresses, job titles, and full names of the people that you connected with. And we'll get more about staying in touch with recruiters after the fair later. And yeah, before you walk away from the table, just make sure you get that really important information about the next steps or what they say the next steps are in the application process. So they have a QR code that takes you to the actual application link. Make sure you grab it while you can, because otherwise there might be some delays or it might be difficult to find later on. And here are the tips for after the career fair. So after the event, you're going to want to follow up with your contacts, which is again why collecting their business cards is really important. Maybe you can send them some connection requests on LinkedIn. I recommend sending a thank you note, whether it's like a thank you message on LinkedIn or a thank you email, and attaching a copy of your resume or cover letter, within 24 to 48 hours. Take action on any of the directions the employers or recruiters gave you at the fair. So, if they said send me a copy of your resume and cover letter, make sure you do just that. and don't forget the cover letter. Or if they say, make sure that you send me a message on LinkedIn and apply directly on the careers page, follow that because there's probably a reason they told you those specific directions. So just again, take action on what they said, be mindful of the timing, and like, of course, apply to those positions that they were recruiting for or spoke about with you if you haven't already. Sometimes you'll see the postings even before the fair. So feel free to apply because sometimes those can be like timed out or the applications can be due and then they're taking the fair as that like last step in the process to maybe meet some of the candidates at the colleges that they're recruiting at, the universities they're recruiting at before they start the screening and the interview process. Or hopefully, in an ideal world, the application deadline will still be open until like after the event, whether that's a couple of days or a couple of weeks after, and then the rest of the screening and interview process will begin. So yeah, like I said before, every company is unique, so is every position. So just keep in mind, did they say to apply online using Handshake, LinkedIn, or their company career page? And we're back to the elevator pitch because I want you to think fast and make sure that you are kind of crafting your pitch in the back of your head. But now would be a good time to just start, drafting it if you're not really sure what you're going to say. If given the chance to explain who you are, your expertise, goals, and your interest in a company or a role. But again, an elevator pitch is usually, 60 seconds or less, maybe even 30 seconds or less. But this is the number one tip that employers have said all students should have for the career fair. So it's worth practicing and drafting, even if it feels unnatural at first, because again, the time that you have with them is limited, and you want to make sure that all the information they should know about you right off the bat is communicated clearly and so that you also leave a good first impression. So this would be a good time to pause this recording for a couple minutes and take time to write yours now. For students or alumni, just make sure that you mention your field of study, relevant skills or certifications you might have earned or certifications that are currently in progress. For example, maybe you're a project management major who's working on the PMP certification or has a goal to sit for the PMP certification in the future. You'll want to include relevant experience and, of course, your professional goals. So piece your pitch together. What's your name? What class year are you? Meaning, did you just start graduate school? Are you currently a junior? Or are you a rising junior if you're a sophomore? Um, a senior? The timing is important because don't forget some internship programs require that you are still enrolled in school. Maybe they require that you're taking a certain number of credits. Maybe they have a GPA requirement or they have a class year requirement. So some internship programs and some intern roles might be open to both undergraduate and graduate students, but there might be some that are only open to undergraduate students and others that are only open to graduate students. In your pitch, specify what types of jobs you're looking for, maybe a little bit about what you've accomplished. You can specify what interests you about this company. And right before we get to our questions section, I would say to practice your pitch with friends and family, other classmates, the professors or faculty staff. You could also actually just record yourself on your phone a couple of times, even if you might think that it's like cringy to play it back and hear yourself. But that's a good tip if you want to, call yourself and leave a voicemail from someone else's phone, or again, just simply use a recording app on your phone and hear what you sound like when you play your elevator pitch back. So yeah, this would be the time that I'd ask everybody questions, because I just recorded this for all of you to review and watch at your leisure. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or again your career center for any undergrads who are also watching this. My room is in room 411 here at 3 Times Square campus. And other than that, all I can say is good luck. I hope to see you at the career fair. And next stop is job and internship. So good job, and I'll see you there. Bye bye.